Welcome to Discover Ramona, where we showcase the people, places, and businesses that make it one of the best places to live. I'm your host, Valley, and I'm here with Jan Ryan.
Hi, Valley. How are you?
Hi, Jan. Welcome back. I'm so glad to be back here with you.
So good to be here.
Both of us are like on the edge of our seats for your next guest. So tell us who you brought.
I'm very excited and honored. We have a very special guest today, Darryl F. Walker. He's an international recording star, and he moved to Ramona about 3 years ago.
Let's meet him.
Let's do it.
It's so romantic. We've got the whole thing working out so right.
Darryl Walker, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
No, it's our pleasure that you're here.
True.
We've been pretty excited for you to be on the show. Thank you for bringing these signed copies. And we just played a little bit. We just played a little diddle.
All right.
Before we started rolling. Beautiful, beautiful music.
Thank you.
So how did you guys meet, or how do you know each other through Ramona?
Well, I can start real quick.
Go right ahead.
Vito told me, you have to see Darryl Walker. He's playing at the barn on Valentine's. I go, oh gosh, we already have plans with friends. I can't break them. He goes, no, you're not listening. You have to be there. So I said, okay. I broke our appointment. I invited our friends and a few more, and I was mesmerized. So there you have it.
Thank you. Thank you.
And a big fan ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really beautiful music. It's the kind of music that we turn on a Sunday at our household, and we just kind of do our thing, you know, barbecue, and just it really brings a good energy into the room, whatever room.
Well, that's great.
So can you tell us about his performances and everything you've seen?
Yeah, you've got an amazing background. So international
Thank
recording star, and you've got some tours coming up.
Yes, quite a bit of activity lately. It's the post-COVID thing. We didn't expect it to take off the way it did, but it's exceeding my expectations. Which is great.
And saxophone too. Everything.
Wait,
That's
you play
my
the
secondary.
saxophone?
My secondary thing. It's another love, a thing that brings me a lot of inner calm, and the whole thing about performing for me personally is it's a spiritual experience first. And like I like to tell people, I step out of the way and I let it just happen. So there's no thought, there's no, being too critical of anything. I just let it go, and then we see everyone on the other end.
I just love that. I love that concept too, because you think of that for entertaining, and I bet a lot of people can't achieve it. It's probably hard to just put yourself out there to that degree.
The hardest thing is to be vulnerable. The hardest thing is to allow the process to go forth and you not get in the way of it. It seems simple, but it really isn't, because people have a natural tendency to get in the way. They start overthinking, they start, injecting their personality, ego, or whatever into the equation, and it messes everything up, because the process of the music coming forth doesn't happen because too much thought. Oh, wait.
And you were always like that. I mean, you were singing as a child and thought it was nothing, just what you do.
According to family members, this all started at age 2.
Yeah.
And I'm 60 years old. This month, I hit 60 this month. And all I can recall as far back as 4 years old singing, but I took it for granted because it was something that I thought everybody did. Yeah. And, the saxophone didn't come along till I was 14. And that was more of a, that's interesting. I like the way that looks. Let's see how it works for me. And it worked really well. So I use the two things back and forth. They play off of one another. If I'm doing a jazz concert, the horn takes on more of my vocal styling. And when I'm singing, my singing takes on more of my vocal styling. I mean, my horn playing style when I'm doing jazz. It's interesting how that works. It's an accidental thing for me, but it's really cool.
That's great. That's amazing. I mean, and that's got to be a hard instrument to play, I would think.
Oh, man. I could think of some more difficult ones, but that is up there, in terms of doing it to where it's pleasant and people want to actually hear it.
Yeah.
Doing it in a way that you don't get too technical and you actually have some style with it. That you get too far out there and people can't identify with it. That's why some people don't like jazz, because it's a little too esoteric for them. But if you play it in a way that invites the listener in and it's not too complicated and it's melodic, they enjoy it more. I just found that it was a good thing to have to add with the voice is to play as well.
How did you find yourself in Ramona?
Good
I'm
question.
just curious because
Well, when I moved to San Diego, I started out in Del Mar. I stayed there for 10 years, and then I met Leilani, and then we became boyfriend and girlfriend, and we started, I actually went from there to Carmel Mountain and then Poway, and then once we decided to get married, we moved and bought a house in Ramona.
oh, so you just started coming closer and closer and closer.
Closer and closer to that area.
So now you are in Ramona, and I think it's fitting because we talk about Ramona being kind of like the new hub for music in San Diego.
It's interesting because I didn't know how many musicians there were there, and there are quite a few.
There's a lot.
Yeah, a lot. And the biggest thing is people are looking for places, venues to perform at. The thing is, in this industry, you really have to have some sort of a base, a fan base, or you have to be marketable to a point where people will take a chance on you, especially the ones that can generate, good income for themselves, restaurateurs and bars and what have you. But my main thing is touring, but I do like doing local stuff when I'm home because it's not as helter-skelter as a tour where you're moving and sound check, line check, okay, show, pack it up, let's go, next place. It's more of a relaxed setting where you can take your time and do things the way you want, you have more control.
Yeah.
And it's super cool. Leilani, your beautiful wife, I had a chance to meet her, but she actually grew up in Poway.
Yes.
And I love the story of how you and Leilani met.
Well, we have opposing versions of it.
I've heard both. But what's yours?
What's your version?
My version is it's mostly like hers, but she has this one part of her story where she says I was ignoring her and didn't give her the time of day and didn't notice her. But that isn't true because at the time I was in a very tumultuous situation without a clue as to how to get out of it. And my mind wasn't on the next thing. I was just not there. So we met at this radio station in, I guess it was Studio City in LA. And the whole point was that I was going to appear and feature her group, the Saxations, is for the quartet of 4 lovely women who play saxophone. They were going to play with me on one of my songs. And I had spoken to her briefly to get the connection going with the music. Her son, which is now my son, Gino, a really talented artist who we're going to get behind, another story. But he did an arrangement for one of my songs for them. So it was easy to just step in and we performed the songs and everything was cool. But to back up a bit, I showed up and I was late because of this situation. Argument about everything on the way over and the whole way. I should have just turned my phone off.
Good plan.
It's just one of those things where it was just not a supportive thing, and it was always a problem anytime I had to do something or be somewhere. In this case, I got there and I was disheveled and just completely, mentally not prepared to sit down and do an interview. And the girls were there, they had been there long before me. And so I stepped in, got into character, so to speak, and I made it work, but I really wasn't feeling like being there. I wanted to just be somewhere like at a beach or anywhere peaceful. So as the day goes on and we're doing the interviews and performances and all that, apparently she was looking at me and wondering, I should maybe get to know this guy more. But me, I was noticing, yes, she's a beautiful girl. I'm interested in knowing who she is, but not now because, I just didn't feel like that. But as we left and after we took some photos, we're standing at the elevator and that's when I really got a chance to see her in her splendor, so to speak. I went, wow, she's more than a smart girl. She's really a pretty girl. Because those two things to me are just unbeatable. Because there's a lot of pretty faces, but they don't all have the brain and talent that, And it just, after a year went by, I finally got in touch with her again. But it was this weird thing where I had I was excited about this car I had. It was a Range Rover SVR, this really fast SUV that shouldn't have been that fast, but it was interesting. And she was driving a Corvette at the time. And I went, well, I'd love to drive that. I've always loved those as a kid. And so I said, hey, I'd love to check out your car, blah, blah. You know, because guys are awkward when it comes to, they just are. Mm-hmm. You meet a beautiful girl, you're intimidated by the beauty thing, and is she gonna think I'm a creep? If what do I say? What do I not say? So that seemed to be an easy conversational point.
Perfect.
Well, it turned out to be good for that purpose. We got together, went out to lunch, and discussed a few things, and then I realized, okay, I really want to know her better. So it just took off from there.
Do you guys still make music together?
Yes, we have a number of videos, one of which we need to get out there, but we do stuff together. She does all of my videos. Mm-hmm. I basically go downstairs. We have a studio downstairs. I go and record the audio, and then once I'm finished with it and mix it, I send it to her, literally airdrop it from downstairs to upstairs, and then she'll take it, ask me, what is this about? Okay, all right, cool. Then I leave. I come back in a couple hours, and she's got the whole thing mapped and the whole story being told.
She does an amazing job on that.
It's unbelievable. We'll go out sometimes. I have a drone, and we'll do different things, and we use I guess it's a Canon R6 digital camera to capture those location shots. But she takes all this stuff and puts it together, and then I'm just sitting there going, oh, wow,
That's a talent.
This is good.
And Darryl, I feel that we haven't gotten into your background. I mean, your music, your connections, what you bring to Ramona. I know just for the Valentine's thing, just the talent you brought down, and some of the singers that you also work with.
Oh, man. It's funny. I've been in this game on a professional level since probably 1990. And along the way, there have been so many relationships that started that I continue to enjoy. And one of them, most notably, would be with the producers that I know. Kevin Flournoy, who used to be a San Diego native, he's now living in Los Angeles, but he's the one that did this. He wrote the arrangement for that. And then I'm fortunate enough to have a really well-renowned brother-in-law who added his saxophone to that. Richard Elliott. He's one of the best of the best, but a really great human being too. And our wives conspired because his wife is my sister-in-law too. So you guys should do something together. The two of them, Leilani and she both, Camilla, kept saying that. And after a while, I said, okay, we will. And then I went home, wait a minute, what did I just agree to? Wow. So, I had always wanted to re-record that Ribbon in the Sky song. And so I called Kevin and said, hey, when are you next down in San Diego? Oh, anytime. I said, okay, well, let's get together and map this out and figure out what we're going to do. And I want to record Ribbon in the Sky. I said, oh, really? I was just thinking about that. So he came down with an arrangement, and I looked it over, and I went, this is ridiculous. We have to do this.
Wow.
This is so good. And so we did. We recorded it in 3 studios, one of which was in Burbank, and then 2 down here. And then we went to Richard's studio at his home in Rancho Santa Fe and got his part. And then we put all that together, and the end result is that song, which went to number 68 on the Smooth Jazz Top 100 last year.
Wow.
And then number 1 for 14 weeks in the UK.
Wow. I'm so excited to listen to it. I don't know if I've heard that one yet, so thank you.
I did it live. You heard it the night that you
okay.
saw. But I love the recording because there's things in there that you can't reproduce live, like French horns and orchestral backing tracks and that kind of thing. But yeah, it was fun to make.
Now, is that Leilani's brother, Kevin? Did you say the other
Oh,
sax
Kevin
player?
Flournoy? Richard? That's our brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law.
Her sister's husband.
Okay, because I didn't know if Leilani and her brother were both sax players. That's where I was going.
Yeah, me too. Like,
Okay.
geez, what a talented
Wow,
family.
yeah.
Yeah, she has only sisters. She
Okay.
has Kim and Camilla,
I gotcha.
3 girls.
So you play at a lot of local places in Ramona, or just the barn? I know the barn's coming up.
No.
You play other places?
Actually, that's the only place, with the exception of a place across the street where the local musicians get together on Mondays and hang out and whatever. But I've done that once. But typically, I'm working in LA, in Orange County, around San Diego. I've done a lot of corporate stuff. You know,
And
Oh, nice.
Humphreys?
Events.
Did you mention?
and Humphreys as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Humphreys is a big one.
And I've got to also say, Vito, going back to Vito, he told me you were in his restaurant having dinner, and he didn't know who you were, so he was talking to him.
I like that.
He was talking to him, and then he goes, someone else goes to Vito, do you know who that is?
Oh yeah.
So
Oh,
he
oh
used
yeah,
to
that's
know.
right. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah. Do you know who that is? And also, what's super great is the people you bring down. Because I know when you played on Valentine's Day, and I know you're playing on the 14th. So just who you're able to bring down with you also is just a treat.
Have we
for
announced
us.
that yet, or is that a secret?
Oh, we have, yes. April 14th is going to be, it's a supper or dinner show. Going to be 90-minute show, closer to 2 hours, I guess, because I have a really great friend and guest coming, Erin Stevenson. She's going to do the first half hour. Erin Stevenson is a vocal powerhouse, a dynamo. She's worked with Janet Jackson on her tours. She's currently with Justin Timberlake, so they're all over the place. But she has an incredible solo career jumping right now, and it's unbelievable that she's writing such great material. We've done a number of shows, the two of us, as a duet. We do duet shows where we sing. One of them was called A Night of Elegance and Love, and we basically sing iconic love songs. And then we do the typical, up-tempo stuff to break up the monotony, but then we get back to the ballads, and people love it.
Oh, it
They
sounds
really do.
amazing.
Yeah, she'll be coming in to do particularly a Sade cover thing. She's
Wow.
going to do 5 or 6 of those, and then we'll do a duet, and then she has to take off right after that because she's doing rehearsals for the Dave Koz cruise. That's going to start, I think this time they're starting off in Greece, or I don't know. It's always somewhere different.
Is there a way for people that want to hire you for an event or something they're doing? Is there a way to reach you? Do they have to go through like a certain email, or is there a website that they can kind of research more about you?
They can research me at darrylfwalker.com, Darryl, F as in Fitzgerald, and Walker.com. That's the first spot. Most of my advertising, though, goes through social media because it's just immediate, and websites are a pain.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
Just like an extra layer nowadays, you can go right to
Yeah, it's clunky. It's a lot of time involved to keep up with, and I'm bad at that. So
Get
I
that.
try, but you can only do so many things in 24 hours. So
Got enough on your plate for sure. And one more thing I was going to bring up that I found super interesting is you said you really got more into your career when you were in the military in Germany. That's when you really...
that's when the switch turned on. I mean, I was always doing it, but just, not really all the way. On the periphery, doing well, but not doing it completely. Something changes when you decide to do something completely because you dedicate yourself to it. And then you find that other blessings come your way because you dedicated yourself to it. And that's when it happened for me in 1984, the year before I left Germany. I had my horn with me, and I started playing a lot. I went and bought all this gear over there. With being a military person, you could buy club level electronics at a discount, when you really discount. And I had a room set up that I had way too much in there for what.
What was the space?
But I mean, in terms of
That's probably fun.
loudness
Right.
and all that. But it was necessary to create as much of a live environment as possible without being on a stage. That's why I did it. But I made sure not to disturb anybody. So I picked the right times. But it was good for me because I was able to rehearse and perfect what I was trying to do.
Also, it just brings a level of like normalcy, you know, when you're there in Germany, outside of what you're used to, of the realms of things that you're used to, you have some music to fall back on, and even the people that were there with you, you know, that's pretty cool.
None of which knew anything about that. They just would hear this system going and then this horn or a voice on top of that.
Love it.
And they couldn't understand really what was happening. And then one guy, I left the door open one time, unlocked, and someone barged in, what? And then it became this big thing. But that was where I decided, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm not gonna re-enlist, I'm gonna leave and go home and focus on this.
Music, yeah.
And you had a whole other career too that you fit in there somehow.
23 years of aerospace found its way in
Jeez.
and managed to do both at the same time, which was not easy. It was a situation of burning the candle at both ends and the middle. You know, 4 hours of sleep sometimes, and just. But when you want something that badly, when you feel that passionate about it, sleeping's just.
I was going to say, it just got you to the ability to do it now full time and not need anything else.
Right.
Because we know there's like struggling musicians out there, so to be able to take it full time and own a home and do all those things is a true testament to like how your success transpires over the years, right? You have to do something to get off the ground, and you build that. Like you said, you have to build a following, and that doesn't just happen overnight.
No. It's a little easier these days with social media because you can reach more and more people if you advertise and boost, as the saying goes. The one thing I have noticed, though, I still like to think about the past years where it was always someone else, like an A&R person or a label representative doing all those things. You could focus more on being an artist, you know. Now the way it is, it's structured in a way where you have to wear all the hats.
Yeah.
If you're going to be successful, you need to know the business of making music as well as just the craft of making music, because it's way more than just a craft.
And the social media, like you said.
Oh yeah,
the
that
promotion,
too. There's a lot that goes on. You need to know contracts. You need to know all the different ways to make money as a musician, which are not just recording and performing live. There's also sync licensing and all these other publishing, all these other things, the other avenues for you to make money. But if you're clueless about them and careless about them, other people will take advantage of that and leave you in the dust.
Oh wow, yeah.
Well, I myself am really excited to see you in the upcoming event that you have in Ramona. And,
Thank you.
I know, keep performing around San Diego.
Oh, for
don't
sure.
Don't leave us.
No.
Don't move back to LA or go to Orange County. We want to keep you here in San Diego.
I'm going to bring the top people from LA.
Down here, right?
They always do.
Okay.
They come down whenever I ask. They come down.
We'll keep everyone posted on Discover Ramona.
That's right. We will. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching Discover Ramona. We'll see you next time.